Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. Wanted to show you in this, I want to show you a timeline that I basically put together, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, I'm having some issues, so you just have to bear with me, and I'm going to do the best I can. This obviously, again, is just me continuing on this this crazy theory I have. It's well beyond a theory at this point, and believe me, the interested parties, I'm absolutely certain, no. But whichever, dude. It's well beyond a theory, in my opinion, that Hillary Clinton lost the 2016 election on purpose, that Trump and Hillary were in on it together. They conspired and rigged the election. What I was talking about the last few videos was this interview with Lev Parnas and Rachel Maddow, and in particular a certain portion of that interview where he talks about Lanny Davis and how, according to Lev Parnas, Lanny Davis could give, I think, to John Solomon, who was a member of this team, of this team of Lev Parnas. A staffer from Devin Nunes was a member of the team, according to Lev Parnas. The husband-wife pro-Trump lawyers, Geneva got it on the first time, and Tunsing, and Solomon. And they would meet routinely in the BLT restaurant, I think it's called, on the second floor in Trump Tower, that's in New York. But according to, in this interview with Rachel Maddow, he says that, he says that somebody could give John Solomon information on a number of things. That, one was that some information on Andrew Weissman, which is the U.S. attorney, the very aggressive, hard-charging U.S. attorney that was working on the Mueller investigation. And the information supposedly was that he was doing something untoward, or maybe even breaking the law in the investigation, and they could use that to blow up the investigation. And he says that he later learned that it was Lanny Davis that could give that information to John Solomon. But he also, later in the interview, Rachel Maddow says, she points to his notes and points to the name of the executive of Burisma. Where is it? Come on, dude. Zlochevsky, which is Zlochevsky's, which is the founder of Burisma and Ukraine Ledger. And she says, what could Lanny Davis give, Lanny Davis and Firtash give the team or give John Solomon concerning this, And basically, Lev Parnas, I'm paraphrasing to a bit, but was saying that, supposedly there was something in the Firtash case that he could provide on Burisma, which is the investigating Biden. And this is coming from Lanny Davis, longtime friend of, according to Lev Parnas, longtime friend of Hillary and Bill Clinton, served as Bill Clinton's lead counsel from 1996 to 1998. That's during the Clinton impeachment, which is going on right now. It's all just hilarious how it's so similar. And he was his lead counsel. He was his lead legal advisor during that whole time of basically crisis management. That's one of his expertises. But I've learned recently, and everybody's known, I've seen Lanny Davis on television for years on Fox News. He's been on Hannity not thousands of times, many, many times, advocating on various democratic things, but many times, he just is open about how good of a friend he is with the Bill and Hillary Clinton. In fact, I noticed in this thing where it's going over how he was beginning a law practice, he was going to start a law practice. He was by himself in his own, practice, but he was joining with two or three other persons, as well as another. They were starting a public relations firm. I'll get to that in the timeline, but I won't spend too much time. Davis, a well-known Washington, D.C. practitioner and friend of Hillary Clinton, whose expertise includes not only the law, but experience in politics and public relations, is establishing Davis, Goldberg, and Galper with two former colleagues at both Patton something or other law firms. But it doesn't even mention Bill Clinton there. I was like, wow, and then I didn't even know that basically their friendship was spawned by Hillary. Hillary and and Lanny Davis, they went to law school together at Yale. So, I mean, he didn't meet Bill first. He didn't work for Bill and then met Hillary. He knew Hillary, and that's why he got a job as Bill Clinton's lead counsel in 1996 to 1998 in the Clinton White House. And then there was this other email, which people made fun of. And, this is right around 2015. And actually, it's right around when he was starting these this law firm and this public relations firm. And he wrote some just cringeworthy email about Hillary Clinton. And I think he was asking her to write a few phrases about him for a magazine article that was introducing his new law firm, something like that, But it says that's why, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just a portion here. That's why Washington Attorney Lanny Davis includes in an obligatory when explaining that American lawyer, a must-read magazine in the legal community was writing a cover story about a law firm he was starting. This is in, I don't want to mess myself up, September 2015. He hoped Clinton would provide a positive quote, and despite the pulled out every argument he could think of to persuade her to talk for the story. There was their long relationship, their shared ties to Yale Law School where they met. There's some hint of financial strain related to upcoming tuition costs for children. I guess, I've never seen the email. This is in the Clinton emails. Came out in the investigation, I think, something like that. I don't know. But they're exchanging like how expensive college is. That's hilarious, dude. Hilarious. And there is the fact that outside his immediate family, he considers Clinton, quote, my best friend and the best person I have met in my long life, end quote. Please, please, please note there are 3 phrases Davis wrote. He went on to add a 4th, please, later. Davis, who worked for President Bill Clinton in the White House, said in an interview that he stands by every bit of his 945-word entreat to the Secretary of State. I think it's a great email, Davis said. I don't get all of this hyper-focus of what is a cynical view of even friendship. Okay? The relationship is there and it's strong. Huge. It's absolutely terrible what these people are doing. They're royally screwing all of us over. And it's not funny, man. And I am going to beat them. It doesn't matter. Got it. All right, so let me put myself down here a little bit for starters. So, I mean, this timeline starts up here. This is the beginning, just June 2014, and it goes to the right, and then goes down and to the right, and down and to the right. Okay, and so a lot of this stuff is not terribly important, but it's just I was speaking about my previous in my previous video about FAR registration for Lanny Davis, his new firm that he just started. He founded in 2016, as well as the public relations firm Trident DMG. So the lobbying firm is Lanny, Goldberg, and Galper, I guess. The lobbying law firm and the public relations firm is Trident DMG, and they're all the same team. They're all the same members. And I talked about Eleanor McManus. She's registered in there, and she's registered in this Lanny Davis and Associates, which is prior to this is when it started. They actually are on the system of the FARA system as of 11/23. That's 15 days after the 2016 presidential election. They're on the system, for Lanny Davis, Lanny, Goldberg, and Galper as representing Dmitry Firtash. Now, he's on the system as representing Dmitry Firtash over here for Lanny Davis and Associates when he was just in, by himself. And he was working in other firms too, but he had his own practice. But that's what's registered over here from June 2014 to basically June 2015. The registration goes up to I think October 2015, but it basically states in that last filing that he stopped. It ends 2015. It's just giving you some some structural timeline to it, if you can hopefully follow along, because I can't explain every last little thing. So he's venturing out on his own and starting his own firm. He's already representing Dmitry Firtash, as of June 2014, along with Daniel Webb and Michael Chertoff, but they're not part of this discussion for the moment. And he's starting this new firm, two new firms, a public relations firm and a lobbying firm, but there's this break from June of 2015, I guess, while they're setting up shop, supposedly, from June 2015 all the way to November 2000, when he puts himself on the system right after the election, right after Trump finally, won, and it's all done. And I don't know, I can't make total assumptions like everything's just going to plan, or if he's waiting for the election to end. I don't know, I'm not even going to bother to try to decipher that. But that's the only client. That's the only thing they're doing, in this time. In all this time, at least in terms of representing international clients, that need to be lobbied for on their behalf in the United States. It's just Dmitry Firtash. That goes back to, June of 2014. There's a huge break. And, they're setting up two new firms that each one has maybe 10 employees, 18 employees, something like that. Maybe a little less than one that's not 10. I can't remember. And then they finally put themselves on the system in November 20. All right, that's enough of that. So, January 2018, Jamie Rubin joins Ballard Partners. Ballard Partners is a pro-Trump lobbying firm that, originates out of Florida. They have several locations in Florida: Tallahassee, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Daytona Beach, I think Orlando. I'm not sure all of them, but they set up shop in Washington, D.C. immediately after Trump won the election. Shoot. Just giving, and Jamie Rubin is the former national security media advisor for the 2018 Hillary campaign. He lives in London along with his wife, Christy Amanpour, a reporter at CNN. And he also worked in the Bill Clinton State Department in one of his administrations. I'm not exactly sure how long that was for. I assume he's pretty close to Hillary Clinton. He worked on her campaign and worked in the Bill Clinton White House in the State Department. And by the way, in Trident DMG, Eleanor McManus, her background is in media. And it was as recent as, I think, 2011, 2010. She was the main lead producer. It's the one thing she has on her LinkedIn page, on her resume, in addition to her, accomplishments in lobbying and public relations. It's the only thing that's listed there as being the producer for Larry King Live on CNN. I don't know how many years she did that. I don't have that up here. Actually, I do. No, I don't. I'm just illustrating that the media connections play into this heavily. And, these outlets that appear senior producer at CNN from 2000 to 2010 for 10 years. And that's basically all of her professional career before entering public relations and lobbying. And that, these outlets, they pretend, and many of them are, and many of the people that work there are, but many of them pretend to be against Trump, and they're perfect allies to have, because they can just steer things in a direction that is good for Trump and they're actually working with Trump, even though they're pretending to be like they're against Trump. And it goes on all the time. And they're in all different types and sizes. They could be reporters. They could be paid contributors. They could be people that work there. They could be from all different persuasions: Republican, Democrat, Republicans that are critical of Trump, Democrats that are pro-Trump, whatever. I'm just telling you, the media plays a big part in this. Okay. And later in October 1st, 2019, there's an article at CNN that basically states that Lev Parnas received checks from Ballard Partners. And in these notes here, oh no. Got it, dude. Got it. All right, so Lev Parnas received checks from Ballard Partners, and at least reported that he did in a report from CNN on October 1st, 2019, and it was discovered because of a lawsuit that somebody filed against him on an unrelated matter, seeking funds. But it showed that in his financial records in that lawsuit that he received payments from Ballard Partners, because in these notes from Ritz-Carlton while he's in Vienna speaking to Giuliani over the phone, he mentions, apparently Giuliani tells him to hire a lobbyist, hire Robert Strike, a lobbyist, or Ballard Partners, which is also a lobbyist. And that's where I'm bringing in Jamie Rubin, joining the process, January 2018, well before those notes were written. Lev Parnas is being played heavily in here, even though he's not stupid at all. He's not, and that's not at all. And he actually comes across, irregardless of them. And remember what I said about these people in the media. You can't trust anybody. You don't know who's telling you the truth. But he comes across as being extremely believable and having vast knowledge of anything, of the entire situation from his perspective. And he never tries to overstate something or state something that's not true. If he doesn't know, he doesn't know, and he doesn't try to say he knows. But he is being set up without a doubt. And I'll just use one little example later in this to illustrate that, where he doesn't know. Like the Trump people, some people are putting in his head that Yovanovitch is trashing or bad-mouthing Trump. And then he goes and tells Trump that. Actually, and he does that in April of 2018. And this is my next point, actually, on my timeline. He tells, Lev Parnas tells Trump Yovanovitch is anti-Trump and talking bad about him. And this is at the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C., Trump International Hotel, at some, America First Super PAC event. What I'm saying to you is that Trump knows he's going to be telling him that. His people are putting those ideas in his head. And, he goes and tells Trump that. But Trump wants him to tell him that. Trump knows he's going to tell him that, if you follow me. It's not terribly important. Another month later, supposedly Parnas, and some of these timeline reports are from before. So they're before sort of Parnas is cooperating with authorities, cooperating with congressional investigators, etc. Parnas presses Sessions, the Texas congressman, to get Yovanovitch removed, and this is, May 2018. What's hilarious in this, when you go back to my opening statement, and how. What I'm talking about here is that Lev Parnas, Rachel Maddow interview where he talks about how Lanny Davis could give John Solomon info to help the Trump team, to help his best friend's sworn enemy, basically. Hillary Clinton is his best friend and her sworn enemy. Her opponent is supposedly, it's not, they're all in on it, dude, is Trump. He could give her sworn opponent, or his team, a member of his team, John Solomon, info on Andrew Weissman, according to Lev Parnas, and info on Burisma Zlochevsky, the executive and founder of Burisma, as it relates to the Biden investigation. Everyone's in agreement. Burisma is the Biden investigation or the Black Ledger. But at the same time, that that's happening, he's also supposedly representing Michael Cohen, who has turned on Trump at this point. And, he and is against Trump, supposedly, at this point, okay? Because in July 2018, Cohen hires Lanny Davis. Within almost a month, not much longer, August 21st, Cohen pleads guilty. So, two persons that are on the polar opposite side of Trump, Hillary Clinton, which is you don't get more polar opposite than Trump, and is supposedly a great friend of Lanny Davis, and Michael Cohen, who's against him and legally entangled with him on the opposite side, and Lanny Davis is representing him. That same person could give the Trump team, supposedly, according to Lev Parnas, information to John Solomon about Andrew Weissman, Mueller's pit bull in the Mueller investigation, information about Burisma, the Biden which means the Biden investigations in the Black Ledger, and that's Manafort and the whole Ukrainian Hillary Clinton collusion nonsense, which is all it's all total baloney. So let me just keep going. I think I'm cruising here. I noticed from their filings, and I don't know. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly the dates of this. Although he's talking about, which is the one that everyone focused on. Okay, get Zelensky to announce that Biden case will be investigated. And Zelensky won on April 22nd, 2019, and he was inaugurated May 20th. So I believe he's in Vienna in between those two times. When he's talking about, when supposedly Lanny Davis can give, is able to give information to John Solomon, on Andrew Weissman, on Burisma, on the Black Ledger. I don't know when that came into being. I don't know if it's before his time, before this time that he's in Vienna, in between April 22nd, 2019 and May 20th, 2019. Zelensky won in April 22nd and was inaugurated May 20th, or if it's before that, I don't know. But when you look at Lanny Davis's filings, his FAR filings, one which is, they have to put out these like semi-annual, sometimes some people do it quarterly, basically supplemental, stating what they did if any major events, I guess, happened in the last 3 months or 6 months. This one is from December 2018, around there. I don't want to lose my place. December 14th, 2018. And it says that, receipts of things of value, airfare, lodging, Dmitry Firtash, October 1st to October 3rd, 2018, client visit. Dmitry Firtash is under house arrest in Vienna. So, I can only assume, and I don't know for an absolute fact, that Lanny Davis visits Firtash, or somebody from his team visits Firtash. I'm assuming it's him. And you don't have, the person who's meeting face to face with Firtash, I would assume was Lanny Davis, but I don't know that for a fact. So, that's what this is on this timeline here. October 3rd to October 1st to 3rd, 2018, Lanny Davis visits Firtash in Vienna. Based on the document of the filing, that's where I get that. In this other timeline, if I could quickly stop, oh no. In this other timeline, it states that, and this is where, it's showing that Lev Parnas told, this is May, June. This is April. This is on the timeline. This is where I got it. April, Trump at an exclusive dinner with President Trump organized at his Washington hotel by America First Super PAC Ukrainian American businessmen Lev Parnas and Belarusian American associate Igor Fruman, both residents of Florida, tell Trump they thought that the US ambassador to Ukraine was unfriendly to the president and his interests. But in this same timeline, it states that late 2018, Parnas and Fruman arranged a Skype call between Giuliani and Shokin. So at some point in this time, I don't know when it was. I don't know if it's in October. I don't know if it's in, November, December 2018. Late in 2018, Giuliani, Parnas, and Fruman had set up a Skype between Giuliani and Shokin, who's in Vienna. Like back to my Lanny Davis visits, Vienna, Firtash, October 1st to 3rd, 2018, exactly almost to a date. 1 month later, November 30th to December 3rd, Devin Nunes takes a trip to Europe, reportedly Vienna. According to, that's what Lev Parnas' attorney said that his client told him. That supposedly Shokin told Lev Parnas that Nunes was in Vienna. And that's where he got that. Supposedly Shokin told him that probably when he was in Vienna down the road, at this time in between the Zelensky winning and Zelensky's inauguration, which is what I was just talking about, right up here. When these notes were written, when he was in Vienna. He claims that Shokin told him Devin Nunes was in Vienna. And Devin Nunes took a trip to Europe, November 30th to December 3rd, almost the same type of 3-4 day trip, almost exactly 1 month later. And it's reported he went to Vienna. February 27th, 2019, Cohen testifies against Trump. I guess in the House committees or in the Senate or maybe both. I can't remember exactly. It's a joke, anyways. That's what this is. That picture's pretty hilarious. I mean, he may be a stooge in this, and he has no idea, and they're setting him up just like Lev Parnas. That's crossed my mind. I've processed that a little bit, and all these masterminds are just playing some of these guys. That's possible, but I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. I want to keep going. But what was key about this is, and Lanny Davis is hilarious, dude. Lanny Davis is hilarious. Lanny Davis, as it relates to, after Michael Cohen's guilty plea and conviction, Davis made several public comments indicating that Cohen is ready to tell everything about Donald Trump that he knows, and alluding to Cohen's knowledge which could be used against Trump. He later added that he believed Cohen would agree to testify before Congress even without immunity. He also rejected any possibility of a presidential pardon from Trump, etc. So Cohen, he's saying how Cohen's Cohen's ready to tell everything about Trump, but at the same time, Lev Parnas is saying that, according to him, Lanny Davis could give John Solomon information on Weissman, the Mueller investigation to help Trump, Burisma, the Biden investigation to help Trump, etc. You get the point? Yeah, you do. You do. Of course you do. And this will provide that this testimony by Michael Cohen. I just can't believe that he's that dumb. I don't. You just think he was so, you don't know. I know Trump. And, he's a liar, and he does this to everybody, and I'm here to, for my country and my family. But everything he said bad about Trump when he's supposedly now coming clean, even though his attorney is supposedly back dealing with Trump, according to Lev Parnas, in big ways. What's this? That's 9 days later, March 8th, 2019. Giuliani goes on Hill TV with Buck Sexton, I think is his name, and trashes trashes Lanny Davis and Firtash. And this provided the perfect opportunity for him to do that, because in less than 2 months, or actually a little bit more than 2 months, because it would be beyond May 20th, he'd be meeting with an executive of Firtash along with Parnas and Fruman. So he needed to put some distance between and trash the same guy and trash Lanny Davis that he'd be meeting with two months later. Otherwise, it would look like they're all working together, which they are. So in April 22nd, Zelensky wins the Ukrainian election. This is when Parnas is in Vienna, between April 22nd and May 20th, I believe. I believe that's when these notes were written. Okay? And then it's reported that in May, there's the picture of the two of them, of all four of them, Parnas, Fruman, Giuliani, and another guy whose name is Dmitry Torner, who's an executive of one of Firtash's companies, and obviously a representative of Firtash, are in Paris at a cigar bar. Just to refresh your memories. I think that's in there. It is. Let's do this. And then I'm pretty much going to this thing. This is a Washington Post article. I don't have the I don't have it pulled up right now. And that was that was May. That was in May. So it would have to be after May 20th, because that was after his inauguration. So between May 20th and May 30th or 31st. I don't know how many days are in May. There's more in here as well between the team, Geneva and Tunsing, and arranging, when exactly. Well, I don't know when or if there was ever an exchange of information between Lanny Davis and the Trump team. That's all he said in his interview. Lev Parnas was that supposedly Lanny Davis could give John Solomon information on Andrew Weissman and also on Zlochevsky Burisma, which is the Biden investigation in the black ledgers, that supposedly there was information in Firtash's case that Lanny Davis could give John Solomon about that. I don't know if that ever happened or when, in between here and there, and when Lanny Davis steps aside and Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tonsing step in to, take it across the finish line with Barr and helping Firtash get his extradition either stopped or delayed, and ultimately, hopefully, getting his case dropped. So Lanny Davis steps aside, on July 20th, 5 days before Trump makes his infamous call to President Zelensky. And then there's the whole whistleblower timeline from all there. And that's the story there, dude. That's the story there. Well, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.